talking earlier on this Saturday about it was Saturday day and Saturday night's all right for Detroit City. Saturday night's especially all right for Detroit City because if Alan Jacobson were here, he'd yell 6 points. Because for the first time ever, Detroit City's women have defeated Midwest United 2-1. Although it wasn't fucking easy. Sal over there, Garrett over here. A match that we were saying looked like a really one-sided performance for a lot of the game. Joelle Washington gets her first in the first half. Kayla Addison gets the second early on. Midwest wins a penalty. We won't talk about the circumstances of it. Buries it. This team hung on. This team got the win. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I'm over the moon. I'm ecstatic. I'm quite happy with that. I mean, we were talking about it before the game, and we all agreed this was our biggest game to date and for the women's team. And to not only beat the team and get that monkey off our back, that team that we had never beaten before, to get that first win. And not only that, but we're neck and neck with them, like looking for that top spot in the Great Lakes Conference here, right? And to get that win, massive. So I'm over the moon ecstatic about this.
Other than Joelle and Kayla, was there any players in your mind that stood out, like as far as performance-wise today?
I mean, they all just put in a complete performance, like especially in the first half. It was such a one-sided, and you touched on this, such a one-sided domination of a first half. I honestly felt that Midwest United was incredibly lucky to get off only down one at half, and we just looked like a complete team. And yeah, I could name them all. Like the whole starting 11, I think put in a great shift. The subs put in a great shift. It was just a great game.
To give you an idea of how big this win is, you've seen us interview Coach Dave Dwaihy, one of the OG4 owners, probably the most reserved, nice human being. I've never seen him as pumped up, excited, rah rah, as in that handshake line before we did this. That tells you the magnitude of today. That tells you where this team's at now and what they could do.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I've always said this since we started. Like, I remember our first few years, like, right, we were building something, and I feel like we are getting to that point where we have built something and we're continuing to build on it, but we're looking really good. And I knew this day would come. I'm so happy that it's come, and I'm so happy a lot of people were here today to see it because, and I'm not going to put attendance today on blast because our fans were awesome today, but
Yeah.
let's keep being awesome, especially for next week.
Well, not the 71-72 that was here for game one. By far biggest attendance. I don't know if they will drop the numbers yet. If they did, we'll mention it in one of our other things we're recording later on in the week. But we're already, it's wild to say, 3/4 of this way done with this season. 6 wins, 2 draws for Les Rouges. We got, I believe, an Elisa Baron fan club in the West Grandstand because I'm hearing German. I can't quite make all of it out, but it's Amon Ross St. Brown, if he's here, could help us translate. Maybe we'll talk to him down the line in the fall on that. But point being is this: 6 wins, 2 draws for Detroit City. First place in the Great Lakes Division right now. 3 points ahead of Kalamazoo FC with 1 game in hand. Midwest United is now at 15 points after 8 games, 5 wins, 3 losses. So, what's next for Les Rouges women? Wednesday, Juneteenth. Trip down to South Bend to take on Michiana Lions. In theory, you think we could do more, as good, if not more than 5-0 that was happened in May. However, we've seen what's happened against Cleveland on Wednesday. Are you concerned at all?
A little bit. It just seems like we get our best results at home, and I'm always concerned going away because we had the 0-0 against Cleveland earlier this week. But overall, I think our ladies have constantly stepped up to the task, and I think they will do so again. So part of me's a little worried, but at the end of the day, I will have complete faith in this team because they've been great this year, and they've given me reason to have complete faith in them.
So, to close this out, I'm going to reference something I'm just thought of from For Those About the Rock Who Salute You by AC/DC, and that first line in the song, stand up and be counted for what you are about to receive. Detroit City's women are almost towards Great Lakes Division glory. These last 4 play at hand, but if they keep going like they did tonight and some of the earlier things, it's within the grasp. Juneteenth, South Bend, Michiana Lions away. Next Saturday, 1 week from tonight, the home finale of this season, Kalamazoo FC. Kalamazoo have Flint at Atwood on Juneteenth. If you're in the Flint area, maybe check that out for some viewing, maybe some scouting. And if you go in that, fill us in. You know how to reach us. TMSN X Detroit on Twitter or X. 451DET@gmail.com. Drop your hits in there. We'll throw them in there. Well, somebody will. Maybe the intern if we brought a new one in. But that's it for now. Sal over there, Garrett over here. Everybody that stayed for tonight, thank you. Y'all are fucking awesome. Big win, big day, June 15th, 2024. Big day in Detroit City's FC history. We're not bullshitting you. And for that, we move onward. Our post-match coverage after this men's-women's doubleheader continues tonight, but mainly for I consider maybe the main event of tonight, Detroit City, Midwest United, Great Lakes Division battle for the top, essentially right now, going into the night, Detroit City 0 against Midwest United. We can finally say that is no longer 2-1. I said in our cap, I've known you, Dave Dwaihy, for a long time. I don't think I've ever seen you fired up as when you were coming in the handshake line. Phil,
Sure. Super excited for, and it's been a long time coming. I think we've had some great battles with Midwest in the past, and it's obviously become the case that they're the team that we struggled with. But I just thought it was such a complete performance. We kind of did it all. We played really well, and we created chances throughout much of the first half and into the second. And then a little adversity when they got their goal, and we also showed a bit of grit and fight and seeing that game out. And it was a battle, and it's nice to come out on top. As I told the women after the game, this puts us in position, but in many ways, it's also like we gotta honor that position that we're in and continue to carve. I think the work ethic that we saw tonight from the whole team, everybody that came on the field just absolutely gave their all, and it's so neat to see because we have a lot of players that are very recently on board. Sophia Roma in her first season, Joelle, her second game.
Yeah.
You just look at the field and you see that like somehow, some way, they already kind of get it.
Yeah.
And they realize that that this club is very special and that there's a history. They're really, so grateful to have players like them who come in immediately kind of honor that history and represent us. So
72 hours after the game on Wednesday against Cleveland, hard-fought battle, plenty of chances, but 0-0 draw. How much do you think that result, if it did at all, provided a spark for what we saw from this team tonight in both halves?
Absolutely. I think it was key, and obviously if you go back in time, you'd rather take the 3 points, but I think the big silver lining with Wednesday's game was that it kind of sent us home maybe a little bit hungrier than we would have been, and the point to prove. And I also think that the performance on Wednesday was excellent. So it was nice to know that we were playing well, but hadn't gotten our the desired outcome. And I think that came through tonight. We had a hunger in our game. We had a scrappiness, and we had an opportunism in terms of the goals we scored where players were looking to make things right. So it was a fantastic response from the women. And, before I forget to say it, I'm just so pleased for the likes of Gabby Shriver, Kayla Addison, Hannah Crum, the OGs who have been with us for so many years now, who have really just suffered in these games historically, and it's nice to see them have a smile on their face afterward.
I also feel like for Elisa Baron now on the coaching staff, that too, especially that was a vibrant. I don't know if that fan crowd was just as happy about the Euro game yesterday as well as this on there, but I feel like also too, and I know just the names in that, it's the one thing since the beginning of this club's matches has always been Midwest United, and now you're 3/4 of the way done with this regular season, which is a wild thing to say. Here we are on June 15th.
Mm-hmm.
You got Michiana away on Juneteenth in South Bend, but you also have Kalamazoo going to Flint on Wednesday. You have, before you play Midwest again, Midwest has Flint. How much, if at all, do you think you're going to be watching fixtures, other teams around you in the race for the Great Lakes, or is it just mindset, tunnel vision, get it done?
Hopefully the latter, because you want to just focus on yourselves, but you can't help but look around a little bit and see how other results are going. It's also tempting to look at the other conference because, the wild card situation. Right. As coaches, that's our job, to be mindful of that stuff, and I'm sure the players take a peek as well. But like you said, I think if we focus on ourselves, we're in a great position. We don't really have to rely on anyone else. If we get it done, if we get 3 points consistently, or get something out of games, if we put points on the board, it puts pressure on the other teams, and it just keeps the momentum moving forward. We're in a great position right now. So, hopefully we can just continue to focus on ourselves and honor our potential.
Lastly, any message, I would say before that, message that you want to leave for anyone, because we had a great turnout for those that stayed on for after game one of the doubleheader. Any message you want to leave for anyone there, anyone that checked out the stream, anyone in general?
Yeah, thanks for that opportunity. First and foremost, big shout out to our men's team for a massive win over Charleston. So proud of them, and I got here right when the goal started, so they gave us a good vibe going into our game. Nice to have a 6-point day for the club. But first and foremost, congrats to them. And I want to thank everybody that came out for both games, especially those who stayed for both. I know it was hot and it was a long day. And there was, some time in between. It meant a lot to the women and to the coaches to have such a great crowd tonight. And I'm so pleased that they were rewarded for staying with a great result. Also, nice to put 2 goals on the board for the Pride Raiser campaign. We're always proud to do that.
8 games played, 6 wins, 2 draws, 15 goals scored, 3 goals allowed. But the most important thing, 20 points, first place in the Great Lakes Division. Great. We've seen a lot so far. We know there's a lot left to go. Coach, thank you.